Prashant, let me come to you. Prashant, you have, you're synonymous with some of the things that we have seen in India, whether it is employee engagement, after having led a couple of the largest organizations in that area, and having been at the forefront of really deploying technology in some of these things. How have you seen the journey in terms of the employee experience, well-being, happiness, engagement, some of these areas? How has been your journey from an external as well as an insider of a large organization? What's been your take in terms of how it has evolved?
So, when I started in the area of employee engagement, I was working with some of the best models in the world. But today what has happened in terms of evolution, in 15 years, I've grown old, right? When these models came into being, I was starting my career. And hence the models were focused on Gen X and baby boomers. And therefore the focus was on organizational engagement. Today with Gen Y and Gen Z being the focus, and they are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the leaders of today, because those who were born in 1980 or 85 are the ones who are taking up leadership roles. And those who were born in 95 or later are providing body to the organization. And therefore, things like well-being and purpose have become important. Perhaps for Gen X, the purpose became important when they were 40, 45. But for the Gen Y and Gen Z, just to bring life to the concept, I have a young son who quit a law firm without any job, came back home, and I asked him why. He says, I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. There is no purpose in my work. I said, applying conventional thinking, I would have hung on to this job till I find the next one. He said, why? Why should I do meaningless job even for a day more? Do you think I can't find a job? I said, no, I don't think so. And he actually landed up with 3 jobs in 1 month. So that's how important the purpose has become for a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old today. And that's what I think we heard Krish say, that purpose and well-being are two important aspects. So in terms of the concepts, engagement has evolved from just being organizational engagement to purpose, to well-being, and to emotional sustenance that the organizations should provide, the emotional or the security that the organization should provide. The current environment driven by, and I have all the respect for the US because they're the biggest economy, and I have all the respect for American companies because I've learned the most from them. But they have a milieu, they have a context. We have our own milieu, our own context, our own culture. And copy-pasting everything that has worked for US and may not be working now, but looking at the historical success and copy-pasting it in Asia, and specifically in India with 5,000 years of its own culture, makes it extremely difficult. Now today, Harvard Business Review is talking of the safety net, the psychological safety net, right? We always had it in India. We destroyed that only in last 20 years or so. And therefore, there's a need to bring back the psychological safety net. So the new paradigm of engagement and productivity leading from engagement would be organizational engagement certainly, well-being, purpose, and psychological safety net. And that's how the concept has evolved. Now, the other question that you had is the digital. Now, when we started 20 years ago, we said, you know, what we do is more important. We are unnecessarily involved in technology. But today, you can't have three things without technology. You can't have consistency. You can't have sustainability. And you can't have scale. 20 years ago, our organizations were small. Number of people that we employed were small. We had just liberalized, our businesses were small, and therefore we could do without technology. We were mostly country-focused, India-focused businesses. Now most of our businesses, even small ones, are focusing on multi-country operations, or multi-country delivery at least, if not operations. And how do you make sure that your employee experience, and therefore the customer experience, because employees create customer experience even if it is through technology, is excellent, and not just excellent, but consistent and sustainable. And that's where consistency, sustainability, and scale is, even in engagement and well-being, is not possible without technology.
So Prashant, just a quick follow-on on that. So one is like technology we can use more from a process perspective. We can use it more from something to make it easier for you to administer the measurement, or see, engagement at the end of the day is a psychological state of an employee. Now, to be able to measure that, we do use questions and people respond to that. Have you seen the usage of technology, whether it is in the form of AI or any other form of technology, which has really added to the measurement of this very difficult to measure kind of a thing that we are talking about? So, any thoughts?
Yeah. So, yes, I would again share the 20-second story. I had this Excel kid in my previous job in my team, and he was talking to another Excel kid in another company which was in Delhi within the group. And I heard the guy on the other side tell him that, hey, I can't understand what you're saying. Why don't you come on WhatsApp? And I was so surprised that, a lot of times when we are texting, we say, hey, I can't understand what you're trying to say. Why don't you just pick up the phone and talk? And it's just the reverse. So that's one change that is happening in Gen Z, that they don't want to talk to a call center. They don't want to talk to a HR manager. They perhaps don't even want to talk to their managers. They would prefer to interact through a system and technology. And that's where I think the first cut solution they are trying to find from the technology. And that's where a lot of HR departments started 5 years ago with uploading FAQs on various topics. Now that has moved from FAQs to some intelligent chatbots. They are still in the space of information more than measurement or training or mentoring. But as we talk, we have employed a few data scientists, and we are working with one of the IIMs on the content side to figure out how can we make this whole machine intelligent to have online mentoring through the machine, so that we can achieve scale and we can deliver to bottom of the pyramid employees and bottom of the pyramid companies. And I mean, with due regards to all the large consulting firms, of which I was also part of, all of us have focused on top 250 companies, mostly billion-dollar plus club. And the biggest employment generator is the mid-size companies, which is established fact. And the data is there from the statistical organization, Central Statistical Organization, and there's no input there. And if we use AI and ML, and if we can provide input there, the growth in the economy, I have made some calculations, we can generate 2.8% additional growth in GDP over 5 years, and we can generate an employment of about 2 crores in 5 years if we just get this delivery through AI ML right to address this bottom of the pyramid, maybe 2,000 companies and about 2 million employees.
Thank you, Prashant. I think very interesting facts, and really happy to hear some of these things. We were doing a survey, so Global CEO Outlook survey we do every year as KPMG, and more than 700 CEOs around the world participate in that. So one of the key data points was 94% of the CEOs who had participated in the survey and given a response, they put technology as the most opportune area. They said it is not any kind of disruption, any kind of technological change, or any kind of thing that we are talking about is not a problem. It's an opportunity.